Using effective instructional strategies. Early childhood students, facilitative language strategies. In the preschool setting, facilitative language strategies are highly effective. They include focused contrast between the child's incorrect and the adult's correct speech, modeling of correct speech, event casts, the narration of surrounding events using correct language, open questions to encourage child's descriptive speech, expansions, repeating expanded version of child's speech, recasts, repeating grammatically correct version of child's speech, and redirects. The child's question is redirected to a classmate. Elementary and middle school students, graphic organizer modifications. Graphic organizers provide a visual representation of classroom content in an organized framework and are effective with elementary and middle school students, particularly those with Down syndrome, autism spectrum disorders, and language learning disabilities. Secondary and transitional students, augmented input. Students utilizing AAC systems should receive instruction focused on teaching communication rather than solely on mastery of the system. AAC is a means to an end, the end being classroom communication and participation. A technique gaining acceptance is the System for Augmenting Language, or SAL, which emphasizes casual introduction of AAC in naturally occurring situations, both at home and at school. Inclusion of students with communication disorders. The education of students with communication disorders differs from other areas of special education in their high rate of classroom inclusion. According to the U.S. Department of Education, 87% of students receiving speech and language services spend 80 to 100% of their time in the general education classroom. This high rate of inclusion provides an opportunity to work on skills in a natural and meaningful context and create an opportunity for the SLP to become more familiar with the class content and instructional expectations on the student. It also enhances the student's opportunity for social integration. Assessment of student progress. Measuring students' progress. The progress of the student with a communication disorder can be measured using several observational techniques, including the ecological inventory, where the student's performance on a task involving classroom communication is contrasted with a peer to measure performance discrepancies, which are then targeted for improvement. Making accommodations for assessment. Many students with communication disorders do not need accommodations for assessment. Others may need additional time for tests or access to a word processor and computer software when writing. As usual, care must be taken to ensure that what is being tested is the subject matter and not, for example, the student's facility with AAC. Materials should be presented in a manner that assists the student's comprehension of assessment directions and questions, and the format should complement the student's most common and facile means of expression. Okay, time for one last quiz.